Okay. Hello. Today we have a different interview. We have an interview today with Chris Peichotto, and he's actually from this area. I had never heard of Easton, California. So we're here in Easton. We're here at a Torada Corda, and we just finished, and it was a really great.
It was a good turnout, especially for not having bullfights in over a year. It was really great to see the culture back.
Almost a year and a half, right? And it was very cool to see everyone super excited, and it just feels like we're kind of getting back to normal a little bit. So it gives us hope that maybe pretty soon we'll
have the culture back at full capacity.
Hopefully.
What we consider it.
Yes. So Chris Peichotto, I wanted to talk to him. Initially, I wanted to do a Zoom, but since we were going to be here together, I just said, well,
let's just do it here.
Might as well just do it here. So, Chris, you actually are a bullfighter yourself. You are a forcado.
Yes.
So that's what really intrigued me to talk to Chris, because he's a forcado, and also he served in the military. So I want to know where, what, when, how, and then the same thing with bullfighting. So what came first? We can start with whatever came first, and then we can go into it.
So it's kind of funny because they go around each other. As a young kid, I would go to bullfights and with my dad and stuff. And from Madeira to Pico Azores and every once in a while in Stevenson, we'd go watch bullfights when I can get out of school or just bribe mom enough to be able to go.
Oh, okay, so you were into it as a young kid.
Got into it as a young kid. Always loved the forcado. Wanted to be it, and then as we've seen here today, with the young heifers and young cows, I would go out and grab them.
Oh wow! As a little kid?
I'd say in my early teens.
Oh, that's cool. When you were not scared.
Yeah.
You were scared.
I think fear builds the respect for the animal, and you got to use it to drive you. So either fear helps you go forward and conquer, or it breaks you, disables you, and you
can't do it.
Get out.
Yeah.
So fear's that double-edged sword, and a lot of adrenaline junkies like to ride. I was, I think, 14, 15 years old, and in Riverdale, I grabbed a few cows, and probably one of the big ones I'd ever grabbed before anything.
Yeah.
And at that
gave
time,
you a little bit of a taste for it, right?
Right. I'd been grabbing a few here and there at FORCADO and stuff. That was probably the biggest one I grabbed, and the captain from the then Tulare group approached me.
Oh, wow.
I was like, hey, would you like to do this for real? And I was super excited. He kind of knew my dad, so they went over and we talked, and my dad, was like, yeah, I'm all for it, but you got to ask his mom. Right? At that point, I knew it was done. Like, there was no way.
Was your father forcado too?
No, my mom and dad were both from Peak.
Okay, so not really their cup of tea when it came to stuff like that?
No, my dad enjoyed bullfights and enjoyed being around it, but they weren't raised with it.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
So I got lucky enough to be kind of raised around it a little more than they were.
That's very good.
So then, fast forward, I couldn't join the group of squads because mom wasn't going to let me.
She didn't? She said no?
Oh, no, she said no. Completely.
Dang, brother.
So, I knew I wanted to go to the military and serve.
Yeah.
From a young age as well, and I knew I was kind of like into that part of history, like wars and the military and everything else.
Yeah. It intrigued you. You wanted to know more about it.
Yeah, and I had an uncle that served in Vietnam and a few other family members, so I would talk to them a little bit. And one day just at high school, I didn't know what test I had to take, knowing the ASVAB, but I had actually not done an English assignment.
Oh, wow.
And that testing period for the ASVAB was at the same time. So I knew I wouldn't get penalized by not doing this paper if I was going to take this test.
So you took the test.
Oh yeah, I took the test, not knowing the ASVAB was the test I needed before the military.
Oh, well then there you go.
So it was a win-win. I ended up turning in the assignment late and not getting penalized for it. Joined the Marine Corps, went to the infantry. 2 weeks out of high school, I was in boot camp. Did 2 tours in Iraq. Got out in 2007. Started getting back into civilian life, right? And it's pretty.
I was going to ask you about that. How is that, by the way?
The adjustment or serving?
Well, okay, good question. I was trying to ask you how was it when you came back and you're trying to assimilate back into civilization. But let's go back to how many years was it that you served again?
4.
4 years. And
Yep.
you did 2 terms in Iraq, you said?
2 tours in Iraq.
2 tours. So 2 years, 2 years?
No, so the Marine Corps did it different. We do around a 7-month rotation.
Okay.
So when I got to my unit, they were part of the initial breakthrough in Iraq.
Okay.
You know, and
wow.
So backtrack a little bit more back to the high school part. When 9/11 and everything happened, I was already in the DEP program, and I knew like this was my window to see combat firsthand.
So if I was in 7th grade when 9/11 happened,
I was a sophomore.
so you're already in high school at that
Yeah.
point. Okay. Yeah. And so when that happened, did it kind of make you want to enlist even more, kind of a thing,
so
or what happened then?
I was already in like the delayed entry program.
Got it. Already at a
so
sophomore.
I was already like thinking to go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So you already wanted to, basically.
Right. You know. So I definitely wanted to. Correction, I might have been a junior.
But still, that's pretty
Yeah,
young.
I
Like
was a
you
junior.
made a decision pretty
So,
young, right?
I knew that was my opportunity to experience what I had always read about and watched movies on it.
Yeah.
And I knew, hey, there's combat on the horizon. This is my time to experience it.
Okay.
So
you were
signed
in
up for,
combat.
Signed up for the infantry, was in combat. Been shot at, been blown up, you know.
Yeah. All of the above, right?
Right, you know.
All the questions that people like to
everything
ask
that
you, you're like,
tails
yes.
in, yeah, and there's those few questions that,
I don't like to ask those
Right,
questions
you
because
know.
I already know. I mean, come on. You signed up. You already know what's going to happen. I don't know how to ask you that question. I know everyone probably just ask them the question. I'm not going to ask you the question.
that's one of those questions.
I don't like to
you
ask
never
that question. So.
And that's one thing that I do tell people. Like, if you know veterans, that's one question you should never ask.
Don't ask that question.
It opens up doors that cause more harm than good.
Yeah. No.
So,
totally. I mean, you were right next to your brothers. You know, you're going to see
Right.
stuff. I'm not going to ask you that.
So I was part of the re-entry force of Iraq in 2004.
Okay.
So I got to my unit, I think December. Right after Christmas break, I got to my unit. Trained for 30 days, was in Iraq by Valentine's. We left Valentine's Day of 04.
Oh, how lovely.
Right. So
so you love Valentine's Day.
Actually, I will honestly say I loved my time in country. It was what I had signed up for, and I kind of think I thrive in chaos.
Okay.
Like when that stuff's going down, it seems
You're
like,
calm.
Yes, there's that calm there, right?
You're like,
So-
I'm ready for you.
So
right?
fast forward.
It's kind of like in the arena, like the arena.
That's
It's
what I
like
was
the
just
same
gonna
thing.
fast
Yeah.
forward to, right?
Mhm.
So I got out. Luckily, I still had a good core group of friends at home, but it wasn't the same, you know. So I did the whole junior college thing for a while, and then at that time, you were starting to see more political bias being influenced in schools.
Yeah.
Which I don't like playing in the politics game.
Yeah.
I'm here to learn, educate me, and I was going to school, you know, for that. I went to school initially I got my EMT little certificate. Never did the National Registry, but I wanted to go back as a contractor. So at that time they weren't accepting standard infantry. You had to be special forces unless you had an EMT certificate.
Okay.
So my plan was to go there. Because I never passed the National Registry, I didn't go in. Changed majors, was looking in the CHP, changed again. I wanted to be a butcher. That was another thing I wanted to do since a kid, right?
Really?
Yeah, just something
That's different.
real hands-on. Still get to, I still go hunting, fishing. Grew up with matasas, so we broke down our own pigs and everything at home.
Okay, I didn't know
Right.
that. See,
Yeah.
we're learning as we go, right?
So country kid there at heart and everything else.
Super country kid, yeah.
Had a rough spell in that transition, and met a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
He was in the group that was at the Leighton bullfights, and he asked if I wanted to join. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. I have finals this week. Give me like 2 weeks. So that was in 2009.
Okay.
And when I got to the group for my first practice, I realized these guys were a lot like my military brethren.
Was this your artillery group?
No.
Or was
I
this-
joined Aposento de Turlock. That's the only group I've ever worked at.
Okay.
Right.
got
So
it, got it.
I make the drive from Riverdale, Lemoore area now, all the way to Turlock, and or peak spots when we were practicing.
And that's
there.
like an hour and a half for you, right?
Hour and a half to 2 hours, yeah.
And you were dedicated, and you would go to practice like every week when you
At that time, yeah, every week. I mean, now life's a little rougher, so sorry guys, can't make it every week, but I try my best. You know, did that, been doing it for 12 years, and I can honestly say the group kind of helped me with that transition. They saved me in a sense, you know, because alcohol was very, very heavily involved. I wasn't able to like just drink and loosen and have fun.
Okay.
It was like we're drinking to go to sleep.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I'm a drink until I pass out.
Or close to it, or we run out of alcohol.
And then we gotta go get some more.
No, I was always pretty good about having enough.
Oh, really? Okay, so how did you? So are you trying to say that the drinking and the bullfighting came hand in hand?
No. So when I got to the group, I slowed down my drinking.
Oh, good. Okay, I was confused
there. Seemed like there was a...
I'm like, brother, we're drinking right now.
Right,
I'm like, don't make me feel bad.
No.
Okay,
So I got to the group and I realized these guys were very similar to the brotherhood I had just left.
That's badass.
You had a group of guys with one goal in mind, and that was, you know,
work
carry on
together.
the culture, work together, and grab bulls.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to lay their life on the line for you as you will for them.
Just like the Marines.
Exactly.
Got it.
So it made the transition easier, and it put a new focus in my life.
That's awesome.
Right? So the drinking slowed way down, you know.
Because you had a focus.
And it was a back to a commitment. Like, you know, let's get
just like in the military too, right?
Right.
You are focused, you are driven.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then so back to that chaos thing, when you're in a plaza with, you know, 3,000 people around you, and it goes dead silent. I mean,
that's
you can
powerful.
hear the bull breathing, right?
Oh, yes.
You give a call, you hear the echo coming back in, you know, it puts me in a zone, and you
zone in on that, and everything else around you is like you have tunnel vision, and it's like black around you, and you're literally just focusing on that,
and
right?
it's hard to explain to people. Like,
no, I get it, totally.
That chaos and that storm, and then there's that calm, and I personally feel at peace. You know what I mean?
That's kind of like fadush for me, because, for example, when you're on the stage, there is a lot of stuff that you see in the crowd.
Right.
You kind of do see chaos. You see this guy over here falling asleep. You see this guy playing with his phone. You see this guy arguing with his wife. You see that kid jumping up and down. You see everything.
Right.
But then you need to focus in on yourself, because if you don't, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the words, especially if you're American Portuguese, just like me. You're going to lose it because you need to focus more on the words. And so I kind of zone in too, and then I just like, it is kind of peaceful, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then that whole, you know, 5 seconds of everything going on, if it goes right on the first time, happens, and you just...
That is sweet when that happens.
Right, like shivers down your spine. You just grab this bull, stopped him. So you stopped this bull.
Yeah.
And you look back, and it wasn't just you; it was your brothers, right?
Yeah.
Those 7 guys in the plaza with you, but then also, you know, the guys on the wall that were there, blood, sweat, and tears through everything else, practices, and, you know, everything going around.
So there's 8 of you guys total then?
In the lineup
but there's probably like 16 then, like double?
So California's a little more relaxed on the rules, and if you've got a group of 24, you can have all 24 in the plaza. You know, Portugal's a little more stringent with the rules.
Okay.
You're only allowed to dress so many per the number of bulls you're grabbing.
Okay, so that's a little bit different when it comes to California. One more thing, how many groups are there in California?
As of right now, I believe there's 4. I think before COVID there was 5. I don't know, you know, too much on
When did your group start, Aposento de Turlock?
They started in 2006, I believe.
And you joined in 2009?
Yeah, this is our 15-year anniversary this year.
So you joined when the team was fairly still new.
Right.
Okay, and how does it feel now still being in it all these years later?
Love it.
That's good.
It's
if you didn't love it, you wouldn't do it, right?
Right. You know, I tell anybody that's wanting to join or, you know, is in still, you know, the day that you wake up and you're mentally not there, step away. I don't care if you've only done it for 2 years or not. It's not necessarily focusing on you. It's the risk of the group.
Yes, right? Of course. One bad move, right? One bad move.
When I go to grab, I'm my mindset is, as the cottage for that bull, right? You're the leader of that lineup,
yes,
right?
Yes.
You got your captain, he's talking to you, you guys are working together.
Yeah.
My job is to grab and stay on, hopefully everything goes right, and protect the group that way.
Yes.
Because when we have to get up and go again, you know.
So you're typically always the grabber then?
I'm one of.
Or the tail?
No, I've never tailed. Never tailed.
Is there a reason why you never tried, or?
Hands get dirty. No, I'm kidding.
Come on, man.
Never really took to it. I've tried it in practice a few times. Didn't go right.
Okay.
If I have to, I'll learn how, and I might, in a few years.
But grabbing, you love to be in the front and grabbing and calling the toilet and everything.
I'll be where the group kind of needs me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so far, my position has been up front. I started off actually at Portuguese-American, which is the third and fourth guy.
Okay.
I did that for my first season. Like I said, I started the group. Their season had already started. I practiced for 3 weeks, earned my clothes, and then closed out the season in one of the most crucial positions there is. And then the following year, I grabbed my first bull before my 1-year anniversary.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay, so it took you a year to warm up to do it in public, to grab the bull from the front.
To find the right bull.
Okay.
Right? So your captain molds you. You're like a piece of clay.
Okay.
And he molds you to where.
And he's the one that tells you, like, I think that this bull's good for you.
Right. He's the one that picks the bulls. So we don't know what we're getting.
But you can tell him, like, hey, I really don't feel like doing this right now.
And I tell guys that all the time. If you don't feel it,
tell it.
Hey,
I can't do it.
Voice it out. Better yet, you say, hey, I'm not feeling it today, and maybe don't even dress. Because you're a risk now to the group. It's not being a coward if you just can't
just
mentally
be honest.
do it.
Just be honest.
Right?
I tell my husband the same thing. Just like today, I said, hey, if you don't feel correct, or you feel like you're gonna get hurt, or it's not safe, or you don't like the feeling you're getting, the energy, then don't do it.
Right.
And I tell him that this all the time, and he's smart. I've seen him back away. I've seen him just totally, you guys go ahead on flow. So I've seen it all, and I agree with Chris. Like, if you don't feel it, you can't do it.
You have to.
Even for singing, even for anything. If you don't feel it, you can't do it.
You have to step away. I mean, especially in a sport like bullfighting.
Yes, for sure.
Sport, art, there's a debate there, right? I think it's an artistic sport.
I think it's an artistic sport. I don't really like to get into the debate because what we do here in California is very different than what they do in Portugal and in Spain. So it has nada ver, it has nothing to do. Yes, it has to do with the tradition being preserved, but the way that we conduct everything here in the United States, which I hate when people start talking bad, it's very different. So I know they get into like the animal cruelty and all that, but I'm a total like animal supporter.
Right.
And I mean, I don't think it's bad because I have my own. I'll have my own fact sheets, like the pros and cons, right?
I was gonna say, if you actually look at the history of the Iberian Peninsula bull, which is the fighting bull, they are the closest genetics to the Iraq, which is a prehistoric bull. So when you see the cave paintings of like cavemen chasing bulls,
that's insane, yeah.
They are the closest DNA relative to that bull. These animals, this breed doesn't have a growth ratio to make them sufficient for beef production.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And they don't produce enough milk to be.
This is important, guys.
For milk production.
This is important.
So, to be brutally honest, if it wasn't for bullfighting, this breed would be extinct, 100%.
So there's a good point right there.
The Romans actually used them in the gladiatorial Colosseum, and the Romans are what started the breeding programs that we see today, right? So you breed for ferocity and bravery, we call them nobreza, so how noble they are, right? You breed for that. If it wasn't for that, and then it transitioned into bullfighting, Spanish and Portuguese variations, you wouldn't be seeing this animal except for in a museum. Right?
Hey, well then that's a good point.
So,
see?
Now, when the animal takes a castigue, it's labeled as cruelty and he's bleeding in the arena, right? Except you bred this warrior to fight and to do this. The best way to keep the genetics is to use that little bit of punishment to keep him growing forward. Now, in the Portuguese style, our bulls still live and they're taken to the butcher shop or whatnot. Afterwards, slaughterhouse in Portugal.
Okay.
Same here. That bull doesn't lose as much blood as people think. blood smears and spreads and dries, right?
I think me and you even had this conversation many years ago.
Right.
Because I was like so stuck on I don't know what you call it.
Hot person?
Yeah, I was stuck on that because I know there has to be a little bit of some type of nail at the bottom of it, right? A little bit, right?
In Portugal, there's a blade. It looks kind of like a half arrowhead, right? So it does cut.
Yeah.
But that bull is treated by a veterinarian afterwards.
Okay.
So they're stitched up, they're washed
See,
out.
guys, listen up. Listen up to this.
It's hard to convince people that it's not cruelty. There is a little bit of cruelty. But if you're a combat sports fan, you're seeing fighters get cut day in, day out, right? MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, right?
Yeah. Even in the NFL, we see some crazy shit.
Right? And these bulls are only fought once in their life. So they're born, they're raised with their mother until they're about a year old, then they're separated.
Okay.
They go to a pasture, they eat and drink when they want, they just live a good life.
Live a good life, yeah.
At the age they need to be for a bullfight, if they're selected, they're ran. If they're good, they go back to a breeding program. Right? So
Yeah.
now they're spending their days with ladies all the time.
That sounds amazing.
Right? I mean, so it has its place in the world.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that was very important to say, and I appreciate you doing that because I think there is a lot of misconceptions, or not even misconceptions. Well, yeah, there is, but I think there's a lot of judgment that goes along with it, right? So just because, like, for example, he's a bullfighter, or my husband's a bullfighter. By the way, they do completely different things. He does bullfight in the arena, and Hobran does Torada Corda, what we saw here today. But they judge us, so like they think that maybe we're not good people because we're involved with this sport. But honestly, I think we just need to be open-minded, not only for bullfights, but about anything and everything. Like me and Chris, we love to learn.
100%. I mean,
We are like sponges. We absorb and we take what we want from the conversation and we interpret it our own way. So it's like we learn it, but then we have our own opinion too, right?
And you have to be open-minded about everything. I've learned that in my world travels, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to have the ability to...
Where have you been, by the way? We need to ask you that. Where have you been, and where have you been to bullfight? Because I think you went to Portugal for this, right?
The Azores.
Okay, so you went to the Azores.
We've been to Forçado and Graciosa. We've gone to Canada, and we've grabbed in Vegas. So they had bullfights in Vegas a few years back. It was pretty cool.
I've never been to Vegas, Chris. Oh my God.
I've been to Vegas more times than I've,
How was it doing the bullfight in Vegas? That's pretty crazy, no?
It was.
Was there an arena, really?
Yeah. So inside the arena, it was all temperature controlled. It's a big rodeo arena down there at a hotel casino. So it's cool. So you stayed in the rooms. You go there. I think it could have been marketed better because there was literally like 200 people in the stands. So
but had enough capacity for a lot more.
Oh, a whole heck of a lot more. Like we could have put a few thousand.
They needed Marisa to market that event.
They needed somebody to market it, right?
Yeah.
And sell buses from San Jose and the Central
Oh,
Valley.
could you imagine? Ooh, Lord Jesus, that was
It
crazy.
would have been a great time. I'd like to see it happen again.
Oh my God, if you guys do this, I need to go. Because I've never been to Vegas. My Raiders are in Vegas, so I could do the Bulls and my Raiders. What
Niners.
are you?
Go Niners.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Even better.
We're
Niners.
friends, Chris. What happened here?
Niners and Dodgers.
Why? No. No. You just killed me even more with that.
Grew up.
The Dodgers? Why? He's going to explain.
Started playing Little League Baseball, and my team on Little League, or in Little League, was
the same
Dodgers.
name. Aww.
So I had the fan gear growing up already. I didn't need to buy new fan gear,
You were all set up.
Exactly. You had the greats back there, Deo Nomo, Mike Piazza, and those guys kind of playing at that time. So.
Okay. We'll let it slide, Chris. We'll let it slide.
It works.
I have a lot of Niner fans. We're okay.
We can make that work.
We'll make it work. So, Chris, is there anything else that you would like to say to the listeners of the Amá Conversa? I mean, this has been a really amazing conversa with you. You are the second person I've had on Amá Conversa that's been in the military. The first one I had was actually a recent interview with Emilia. She was in the U.S. Army, and now she is in the Air Force.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and she was stationed in Korea, Germany, Oh my god, I'm not remembering it. Two other places. The girl traveled a lot. So you traveled for bullfighting. Have you traveled for the military too, except for Iraq?
Just
Iraq.
stateside in Iraq and airports in Ireland, Germany, Turkey, I believe.
Oh wow! Okay, so you have been to.
Oh, Iceland as well. But you didn't leave the airport. You literally, you know what I mean?
Got it. Okay. But still, it's still a cool experience.
Oh yeah, I got to have a Guinness in Ireland, right?
What?
Oh, yeah.
How did it feel?
It was amazing.
It just felt perfect, right?
Room temperature beer, kind of European style, good barley, roasted style.
Nice foam at the top.
Right. It was great.
Is there anything else you'd like to say as far as like when are we going to see you again? I've seen you grab.
Right.
The first time I think I saw you grab was like, hold on, let me back it up. Because starting in 2009. I think the first time I ever did saw you was, or ever did see you, was 2012. But then I started getting a little bit more involved, like 2015.
Right.
And that's when we became friends, was in 2015.
Right.
So I've known you for quite some time. But like I told you today, you're a man of a lot of mystery. So I've known you for so many years, but I still don't feel like I know you very well.
I think there's a club for that.
Yeah. So I have to join the club, guys.
I do stay a little reclusive at times,
But I loved talking with you today because we
Right.
got to learn a lot about you today. And whenever you want to come back to Amá Conversa, we can do it up. I mean, I'll teach you the Zoom.
Round two.
The Zoomulations.
I have a Zoom on my work iPad.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather do the face-to-face, right?
Okay.
I think it's more personal. I think number two entailed.
I'm in Hillmore now, so whenever you're in my neck of the woods.
As far as when we'll see Aposento de Turlock again, I don't say myself, but the group.
Yeah.
As soon as bullfights start back up again,
You think it's going to be soon, or what are you thinking?
I hope so. There's kind of rumors out there going on.
I heard something about September. Is that right?
I've heard September, I've heard October, I've heard July, and that was just all
July.
today.
Ooh,
right,
like
so I think this just said it's going to air probably in July, so around that time we'll see.
Don't get me too excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have plans on leaving the group anytime soon. I think I've still got quite a few bulls left to grab. So
yes.
You'll see me again in the process. And closing words, I guess, would be, we need to, as humans, be more open-minded to people's thoughts, ideas, grow with each other instead of divide each other.
100%.
Right? Whether you have different political views or not, you gotta understand.
You're a human.
You're a human, right? We need to stop this tribalism.
Yeah.
Because this tribalism is going to cause a great divide, and we won't ever recover that.
Exactly. And that's why I wore this shirt today. And it says, oops, somebody's coming. It says, Unidos venceremos. And I made this design about 2 years ago, but it's really true because together we will vencer. We will be in victory. We will conquer. If we are together. If we're not together, then, Chris said,
it's okay to have different views and opinions. How about we sit and talk about it and figure it out? We live, not to kind of quote Joe Rogan, but I'm going to, we live in a society where everybody's a keyboard warrior, right?
Yeah.
Because you feel safe because you can't get punched behind that keyboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you were to have a conversation with those people, you might actually really like them.
Yes, and you wouldn't probably punch them, right?
You probably wouldn't say those things to their face that would warrant you getting punched in the mouth.
Yes.
Right? And I know it's a little, graphic and everything else, but I live that warrior mentality where, you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I agree with you.
Humans.
I believe in karma. So it's kind of the same thing as you. You reap what you sow. And I believe in karma. So let's all be good. Let's live our lives with intent and purpose.
Right.
Treat each other with respect, because like you said, we are all humans. And even if we have different opinions, it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Exactly.
We just need to respect one another and
to be graphic, we all go underground at the end of the day.
Yes.
So why go there miserably?
Yes. So before we actually end this, that reminds me, even if you're rich, even if you're poor, I actually yelled at a man about this one time because I was waiting for a parking spot and he thought he was going to be smart and just dip in as I was waiting for it. And he got out of the car and he was like some big businessman on the phone, probably with the client. He had a suit on and everything.
Right.
I put my window down. I yelled out the window and I said some words to him. And then I said, "We all have the same grades, mother effer." Yes, so I agree with Chris, and thank you again so much for being in Amá Conversa. Anytime you want to come on, the portas estão abertas, anytime you want.
Let's do it again.
You're welcome. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you, brother.
No.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.